Hello everyone. I'm Osang. I'm going to present about the alternative energy. As you see on the graph, the use of fossil fuel use is increasing every year. Fossil fuel is projected to be depleted. As you see on the graph, it will reach peak on somewhere around 2050, and it will be decreasing, and it'll be all the fossil fuel will be gone by the 2300. As you see on the graph, need for alternative energies have grown, and the proportion that takes up in the energy production is increasing every year, as you see on the graph. There are alternative energies, and one of the energies is solar energy. It is the power that generating power from the sunlight receiving through the solar panel, as you see on the picture. It is produced in an area, right? As you see in the map, the more red the map area is, the more better. It's better for a place for a solar light. Another alternative energy is wind power. It generates power by turning turbines powered from the wind. It can be produced in the land or at the sea, as you see on the pictures in the slide. Mountainous regions are good regions to produce wind energy. As you see, the more darker the color in the US map, the more better place for the wind power, because it's Rocky Mountain. And this picture is the Daegwallyeong wind farm. It is mountain region. Another alternative energy is geothermal energy. It generates power from the heat produced underground, and the principle of producing it is shown in the diagram at the slide. Currently the geothermal power plants are located at the place shown on the map. It's including Japan, California, Iceland, and which has a connection to volcanoes. And this places in the map is called the Ring of Fire, where many volcanoes are located. And as you see, there are many geothermal power plants. Another alternative energy is a hydropower plant. It generates power using the force from the moving water. And this is the dam, Hoover Dam, which is located between the state boundary of Nevada and Arizona. But the problem of hydro power plant poses environmental threat and damage on the existing communities. The left picture is the animal called the sudal, and I don't know what's called that in English, but many years ago, when Korean government proposed the plan to form a dam, many people opposed, including environmentalists, because this species of animal is the preserved animal, and because when the dam is built, that sudal has a risk of being disappear and extinct. And this right picture is the people opposing the dam building is in the Mekong River. They're concerned that the fish will disappear when the dam is built on the Mekong River. Another alternative energy is tidal power. It generates power through the moving force of tide, using ebbs and flow. The disadvantage of this type of power alternative energy is similar to that of hydropower, so I will not mention about it. Conclusion is that alternative energy is for the cleaner world. While using fossil fuel because of industrialization in the past, our air is polluted and our quality of life has diminished. But as we use alternative energy, we can have a cleaner world, and we can have improved quality of life. It's up to our choice how the world will change. I have put this picture on the final slide of the presentation, and I wanted to remind you about the poem by Robert Frost, The Road Not Taken, which in Korean is called 가지 않은 길. There are many. We have to make choices. And it's same for the environment. As we think of the consequences of the environment, we have to think what to choose about and not what to choose about and what to do right for the environment and for our future. And it is time to use alternative energy, and we have to think about it carefully. Thank you.
Hello, I'm gonna talk about ozone thinning and ozone hole. Basically, the ozone layer, which sits in the troposphere in Korea, Seongcheon-권, absorbs much of solar ultraviolet radiation, so which it can cause skin cancer and sunburn and eye damage. So the ozone layer is essential to humans and ecosystem. However, as you can see these pictures, the first one was taken in 1979 and the other in 2010. Yes? And the big difference of between these pictures is blue part, which means ozone hole. So we can notice that we have quite huge ozone hole these days. All of these pictures were taken on October of every year from 1980 to 1991. We can see that the ozone hole got bigger and bigger, and this graph shows clear decline of the ozone layer. We lost more than a half of the ozone layer through 25 years. Yes, its main reason is CFC, which is also called freon gas. If CFC is exposed to sunlight, it breaks into this, and this chlorine meets the ozone, and there appear chlorine dioxide and oxygen, and this chlorine dioxide meets the oxygen atom, and there appear chlorine and oxygen. It looks like a little bit complicated, but the only fact you should realize here is that chlorine never disappears, this chlorine never disappears, and changes the ozone to oxygen, which means making more ozone hole. This graph shows that the red line indicates the amount of chlorine, and the blue line indicates the amount of ozone. You can see that the amount of chlorine is inverse proportion to that of ozone. And another newly found reason is halon. It takes an active role as great fire extinguishing chemicals. However, bromine in halon has 10 times more destructive to ozone hole, so the halon has recently been regulated. I think most of you know more about ozone hole than I do, so I'll introduce another two interesting facts to you. Do you know that the ozone hole gets bigger in summer? The ozone hole gets bigger in summer because in severely cold regions, like in polar regions, if it gets cold, the cloud is formed, and the cloud keeps chlorine in the air to itself. However, if it gets warm, the cloud goes back to vapor, and there spreads a lot of chlorine in the air. So if you look at these pictures, the first one was taken on April and the other on October. April is winter time in Antarctic, and October is summertime in Antarctic. So you can see that the ozone hole gets bigger in summer. And another one is that because Antarctic is colder than Arctic, so in winter it creates more clouds, and which means it is likely to form more ozone holes. So if we talk about the ozone hole, we usually focus on Antarctic. So it's the end. Thank you.
Temperature causes more methane. In nitrogen